Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. And we have so much good stuff today, I can't even say the thank yous because all I can think about is Sheng Thao news, Gavin's mistress, gentlemen's massages, Jennifer Van Laar, and Seneca Scott. I'm so excited I can hardly take it. We have everything but the winning lottery numbers before the drawing. Hit the music.
Giving you the day's headlines with the right context. It's the John Phillips Show.
And a very happy Tuesday to you at 12:06 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
Oh, it's going to be a good one, Johnny. We are broadcasting live on the radio on 790 KABC and 810 KSFO, and we are broadcasting live worldwide on video at johnnydon'tlike.com. You can watch us. You can join in the chat room. Tell all your friends you need to be here between noon and 3 because, oh boy, is it a Sheng Thao update of a day.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
We get so many requests to do Sheng Thao updates, but we can't do it unless there's new news. But it's the number one request we get. It's like we're running a classic rock station and everyone wants to hear the Beatles. But you can't play the Beatles every minute of every day, otherwise it's not special. Well, we waited until there was news, and oh boy, is there news today.
There is a brand new report from the San Jose Mercury News detailing all kinds of new allegations from federal prosecutors in court filings to the upcoming corruption trial of Sheng Thao.
Absolutely.
Her crooked boyfriend, Andre Jones, and the Dong family. And it is a big one.
And Randy, you called me earlier today when this story broke. Listeners were emailing it in to us. We were pre-recording the podcast. I recorded a hit with Donald Trump Jr. that's going to appear on his podcast, I think later tonight or tomorrow. And it hit me like a ton of bricks all at once. And this is as juicy as it gets.
We want to give a huge shout out to the Mercury News and their reporters on this piece, including Jacob Rogers, who we're trying to get on the show at some point. There is so much more to this trial than just everything that we know already, including the corruption between Sheng and the Dong family, the corrupt deal to turn shipping containers into homeless shelters at the cost of the cities of Oakland and San Leandro to $300,000, the kickbacks to people like Sheng Thao with her crooked boyfriend's non-existent job with California Waste Solutions, the kickbacks to Brian Acevedo when he opened a bank account in his wife's name and then told Dan Noyes, "What are you talking about? I don't recall doing that." There is so much more to all of this being brought to light as the defense, the Shengs and the Dongs and the Andres, are trying to get a lot of evidence that the prosecutors have thrown out. But now we know what some of that evidence is, and oh boy, is it juicy.
All right, well, let's get right to it.
So here's the first thing that you need to know. The dealings between Sheng, Thao, and the Dong family go back way further than any of us knew. We knew that they helped her get elected as mayor. They paid for those racist ads against Lauren Taylor through Mario Juarez, who then stiffed the printer. We know that Sheng Thao got a kickback deal where her boyfriend was going to get $300,000 in salary from the Dong family for all of these contracts with California Waste Solutions and Evolutionary Homes. But here's some things that you may not have known. First off, Sheng Thao has been a stooge for the Dongs for a very long time, going back to at least 2019 when she was then city council member Sheng Thao.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because at the time, California Waste Solutions, the company that the Dong family owns, that is the trash collector for the city of Oakland, was being sued by the city of Oakland for overcharging customers. And Sheng Thao leaked details of those private meetings of the Oakland City Council to the Dong family. So she's been working for them for a very, very, very long time.
And it's interesting that you say that, because go back to the sale of the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, when she would have public events with them and talk about the sale of the property, she would always say, and just to be clear, I work for the city of Oakland. I don't work for the group that's buying the Coliseum. And we thought that was an odd thing to say, but she kept saying it over and over and over again.
Oh, I'm sure at some point there's going to be all kinds of shoes dropping about that deal.
And we still got our Oakland A's, baby.
No, you don't. Okay, here's another thing that you need to know, because one of the things that the prosecutors want to show is a pattern of behavior. And we talked about how one of the deals in the bribe with Sheng Thao and the Dong family was the Dongs created a non-existent job for her no-good boyfriend, Andre Jones, in lieu of $300,000 in salary for all kinds of favors, including the shipping container contract. Well, according to prosecutorial filings in this story from the San Jose Mercury News, back in 2021, when Sheng Thao was just a member of the Oakland City Council, she had lied on a form when she and Andre Jones were trying to lease a house. And she lied saying that Andre Jones had a salary of $150,000 working for her sister's cannabis consulting firm. He did not have such job, and it does show a track record of behavior. Now, Andre worked for the Oakland Cannabis Commission from 2017 to 2020, but he did not have any kind of job with her sister's cannabis consulting company, which I'm sure there's all kinds of connections there as well in how corrupt all these dealings are. So she straight up lied to get a lease because her no-good boyfriend was unemployed.
Was this the same house that the feds raided when she was naked as a jaybird and they took all those computers out of there?
Where she had to get dressed in front of the FBI agent because they were sure she was going to try to sneak out a thumb drive. I think you can figure out where. So that's another one of the major allegations. And by the way, if you saw the title card for this show, one of the things that you need to think about as we talk about all of these allegations when it comes to Sheng Thao and the Dong family, John, is the Dong family's connection to California Attorney General Rob Bonta. Because the biggest benefactor of money coming from the Dongs for the past decade plus is Rob and Mia Bonta. And notably, Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, was telling everybody who would listen that he was going to run for governor. And then shortly after Sheng Thao was indicted by the federal government and the Dong family, his benefactors, were indicted by the federal government, all of a sudden he wasn't running for governor. And then what did we find out? Oh, we find out that Rob Bonta used $500,000 of campaign money, nearly $500,000, to hire attorneys to assist with the investigation into the Dong family and to Sheng Thao. So the worse this gets for Sheng and the Dongs, you know another shoe is going to drop for Bob Bonta.
Here's something else you need to know about the Dongs. The Dongs, besides allegedly running a criminal enterprise, were also running a Jeffrey Epstein operation of sorts. According to the article, Andy Dong regularly took secret photos and videos of politicians in compromising situations for potential leverage. Dozens of these photographs and videos were found on his phone by the feds. He also apparently recorded phone calls. And you go, okay, well, what was it that he was recording? What compromising situations took place in front of him? Well, listen to this. According to the article, San Leandro Councilman Brian Acevedo allegedly used drugs and had sex with prostitutes during the trip to Vietnam that included none other than Sheng Thao and a bunch of other elected officials from the Bay Area.
According to prosecutors, there is a video of Andy Dong in the back of a limo with Brian Acevedo talking about all the shenanigans they got into the night before, including the drugs and the prostitutes.
And not only were they apparently providing drugs and prostitutes, but Randy, they were also providing gentlemen's massages.
And you remember when Brian Acevedo was asked about his trip to Vietnam with the Dongs and with Sheng, he, without being asked about it, was like, I didn't sleep with any prostitutes. What are you talking about? Now, another interesting wrinkle to the story is, in light of reporters finding out about Brian Acevedo's alleged drug use and prostitution use in Vietnam, Sheng Thao apparently told the Dongs, you need to cut this stuff out, or, and I'm quoting what was said overheard in the filings, I can't bleep with y'all anymore.
So wait a minute. What was it that offended Sheng? Was it the gentlemen's massages? Was it the prostitutes? Was it the drugs? What was it that crossed the line?
Oh, it may have just been that it got out.
Oh.
Now, here's another interesting wrinkle to this story. So back in 2023, 2 months after this legendary trip, the delegation to Vietnam, where all kinds of partying was going on, a reporter got wind of this alleged behavior from Brian Acevedo. We don't know the reporter's name or what organization they worked for. But what we do know is that they started asking all kinds of questions, which led the Dong family to find an associate of this reporter and offer the reporter a $10,000 bribe to kill the story. And apparently that reporter then listed that he was paid $10,000 by the Dongs for PR work.
So the reporter wasn't worried about taking a bribe. He was worried about being caught cheating on his taxes and not declaring.
Now, the story is out. We know all of the allegations of all the things that happened in Vietnam. And we also know way more instances, which, again, they're trying to get the evidence thrown out of all these stories about Andy Dong taping people in compromising positions. Includes somebody that they used Sheng to get appointed to a board they wanted. And this man apparently could do whatever the Dongs wanted because they had compromising video and photos of him with scantily clad women at a karaoke bar.
Now, let's go back to Rob Bonta for a minute. Because if you go back to the original whistleblower, the one who started this whole thing, he claimed that the Dong family had the goods, had compromising information on Bob Bonta that they used to blackmail him to get what they wanted.
That was Mario Juarez, who, oh boy, there is so much on him. Mario Juarez was the guy who was the co-founder of Evolutionary Homes, the shipping container to homeless shelter company that was trying to sell these things for $300,000 a pop. That was the scam here. And you would get a commission as to how many you could get the city to buy. That was Brian Acevedo's deal. Mario Juarez alleged that the Dongs were sending a hitman to kill him when he got into a gunfight with a man named Hermelindo Ramos. And Dan Noyes has done so much incredible reporting on this stuff. Mario Juarez apparently sent a letter to Rob Bonta. Excuse me, I know I'm saying his name all wrong.
Bob Bonta.
To Bob Bonta, alleging that there were all kinds of compromising videos about Bob Bonta. Here's another thing you need to know. Mario Juarez, according to the prosecutorial filings of videos they had on Andy Dong's phone, included a video where Mario Juarez started talking about how happy he was to finally be doing business with the Dongs and starts talking about $100,000 bribes that went to somebody at the city of Oakland to originally get that contract at California Waste Solutions to be the trash hauler of the city of Oakland. So who is that? Could it have been the mayor at the time? Could it have been a member of the city council? I'm just speculating here. But before Sheng Thao was a city council member, she and Andre Jones were both staffers of Rebecca Kaplan, who's now on the board of supervisors. How far back does this go? But it looks like the Dongs have been bribing Oakland officials, at least according to these filings, since 2014. And who was the assemblyman for Oakland this entire time? Who was the biggest benefactor of Dong money, Johnny?
That would be one Bob Bonta.
When the trial happens, Brian Acevedo, who has already pled guilty, will be speaking for the prosecution. Mario Juarez, the whistleblower who is caught up in a whole bunch of shenanigans himself, he will also be speaking for the prosecution. And it sure seems like the Dongs, Andre Jones, and our girl, Sheng Thao,
Oakland Bees!
have a whole lot of evidence against them.
And just to be clear, it was not alleged in this newspaper article that the Dongs have video of Bob Bonta with a prostitute or getting a gentleman's massage or anything like that. But if you look at what was alleged by the whistleblower and you look at what they were doing with other individuals where the allegations were spelled out, I think you can connect whatever dots you want to in your own mind.
If we have evidence that the Dong family was engaging in this kind of blackmail behavior, you have the allegation for Mario Juarez that they did that to Bonta. Bonta does not run for governor as soon as this whole thing blows up. Bonta spends $450,000 on attorneys for a deposition. I'm telling you right now, Bonta is going down with Sheng Thao.
I wonder if he lasts until November because he is the Democratic nominee for Attorney General in California. And if this information comes out before the election, even in a one-party state, it's going to be impossible for people to stand with Bonta.
Look at the timing of everything. Unless it gets delayed, this federal trial that takes place in Oakland that we really need to do a live remote for is happening in October. Right as the ballots will be going out. We're going to have Michael Gates on the show at the end of the week, who is running against Bob Bonta, and I'm sure he may have a thing or two to say about all of this.
We're efforting to get the reporter who broke this story on the program. Later today, we have Seneca Scott, who was breaking stories related to this whole sordid affair for many, many moons. He will be here. And oh boy, we cannot wait to talk about this some more. It's the John Phillips Show.
purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes open to U.S. residents only, except New York and Florida. 18 and older. Enter 11-126. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit CarProSweeps.com. Sponsor Acuity Marketing, Inc. DBA CarPro.
Now is one of the best times to enter to win a 26 Corvette Stingray at CarPro.com. For a limited time, qualifying entry packages receive up to 30 times the entries. Win a brand new 2026 Corvette Stingray or $40,000 cash. This special launch promotion won't last long, so don't wait. Go to CarPro.com today and get entered. Now, let's talk more about CarPro.com. Listen to this 5-star review from listener Jerry from Westminster about her experience with CarPro.com in Honda World of Westminster. Quote, Ray and Sonny were the absolute best, and I can't even describe how much they treated me like I was important to them. Class acts, and I can't thank or appreciate them enough, end quote. For this same kind of VIP treatment and rockstar pricing, go to CarPro.com, put in what you're looking for and your information, or you can call or text Tom Haynes directly on his cell phone at 818-435-6797. Stop doing it the hard way. Go to CarPro.com. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to watch us perform the show live on YouTube, all you have to do is go to johnnydon'tlike.com, and you'll be right there with us for all 3 hours until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's the John Phillips Show. Let's get real for a moment. If you've been injured, car accident, motorcycle, slip and fall, the lawyer you choose matters. And I'm telling you right now to do your homework before you hire any personal injury attorney. Pull out your phone, look them up, and read the reviews. Clark Fielding has successfully represented so many of our KABC listeners, and it shows. 5 stars on Google, 5 stars on Yelp. Now compare that to a lot of the big, heavy advertisers you hear everywhere else. You'll see ratings that are all over the map. Some good stars and plenty of bad ones. That should tell you something. When people are hurt, stressed, and vulnerable, reputation and results aren't optional. They're everything. If you've been injured and want real answers, call Clark Fielding at 833-88-SHARK. That's 833-88-SHARK. Or find him online at clarkthesharklaw.com for a free consultation. Look him up, read the reviews, then decide who you want on your side. That's Clark Fielding, the Jaws of Justice, at 833-88-SHARK. It's the John Phillips Show. If you'd like to call in, you can do so at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. And if you want to send us an email, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And we're now doing the show live on camera as well. So if you want to not just listen to us, but watch us and participate in the chat and click that like button, Randy, that's easy as pie.
Just go to JohnnyDon'tLike.com. It's as simple as that. JohnnyDon'tLike.com takes you right to the YouTube page. You'll see the graphic for today's show. Will Sheng Thao take down Rob Bonta? And you click on that, you're in the room. That thumbs up button is the like button. That helps YouTube decide that we're popular and they should send us to more people. Y'all did great yesterday. We got over 550 likes, and because of that, we launched the brand new Drops website. You can play your own drops while you're watching the show. Go to cashierisdummy.com.
If the cashier is dummy.
We have now 102 drops on there because someone asked for a couple to be added.
And earlier today, we taped the newest edition of the Accountability Podcast, which drops tomorrow.
The Accountability Podcast with John Phillips and Randy Wang.
Accountability.
Our newest episode tackles the fact that former presidential candidate Andrew Yang announced that people are telling him that former presidential candidate, former Vice President Kamala Harris says she's going to run again in 2028, and we cover all aspects of it. That drops tomorrow, and the way that you can get on it is be subscribed to our channel at JohnnyDon'tLike.com. You'll see it if you scroll down under the John Phillips Show. There's the Accountability Podcast. You can watch all of our episodes there. They're all available on demand. And by the way, all of our content on demand, we not only appreciate you watching it, but putting your comments, letting your voice heard, it really means a lot. It shows that we have a lot of engagement. So don't only watch our stuff, but write lots and lots of comments. We appreciate it.
And earlier today, I was the guest on Donald Trump Jr.'s podcast, Triggered, which I think goes live tonight. And when that goes live, we'll make sure to tweet that out and put that on our social media pages so you can watch that interview. I think it went on for something like 45 minutes, and I had a good time on that podcast with him.
We're doing a lot of stuff. Tonight at 8, I'm going back on the California Underground podcast with Phil Moriello. That's at YouTube at California Underground, and I'll be live at 8 o'clock. So no sleep for me.
All right. Over the weekend, there were a bunch of street takeovers that happened right here in the state of California.
Specifically, they happened in my neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley. I gotta get out. Okay. These street takeovers are getting so out of control. You can see in the live shot right there with Gina Silva, all kinds of skids in the street. Somebody got hit. I'm going to warn you, the video that she's going to play, it's a little disturbing. They blur out anything that's too graphic, but it's a wild one. For more on the dangerous, destructive street takeovers plaguing my neighborhood, here is Gina Silva and our friends at Fox 11.
Takeover that happened at this intersection of Plummer in North Hills. It was just so violent that it could have been deadly. When you look at the injuries, and again, we have to warn you, we had to blur some of it because it's just too much. Take a look.
Whoa!
My goodness!
He went down like a bowling pin.
This is why, even if you're not the people doing the donuts, if you're the spectator that drives and blocks a street so you can watch this stuff, so you can film it for your TikTok, you might not even have 2 brain cells to rub together.
I mean, imagine knowing that there's going to be dangerous donuts going on right in the middle of an intersection, and you go, that sounds like a wonderful activity to take my girlfriend to. Why don't I show up and see what's going on?
A street takeover in broad daylight in North Hills, all caught on cell phone video and now going viral.
Pull your pants up. I feel like I'm getting older by the minute.
You know what they called that when they hit that guy and his girlfriend?
What do they call that?
They call that a 310 split.
The chaos quickly turned violent when 2 spectators were injured, including this young woman.
Whoa. Why are they blurring that out? Is she not wearing any underwear?
They're blurring out the gruesome thing that happened to her leg. I don't know. They're not saying what happened there. I don't know if it's just a lot of blood. I don't know if a tendon popped out, what have you, but it was deemed too gruesome for the Fox 11 nightly news.
But you're sure that's not a basic instinct crossing of the legs?
They are not blurring out anything like that, as far as I know.
It is so graphic, we can't show it.
It's stomach turning when I saw the injuries of the poor kids that were here.
It was very chaotic. There was a lot of cars doing donuts and just going everywhere, and it was terrible.
Residents who live near the intersection of Plummer and Haskell in North Hills say they're all too familiar with these dangerous...
John Lee, what the hell? What are you doing if you're not shutting this stuff down?
Oh, wait a minute. Here comes the 310 split again.
Oh, boy. I mean, when you have a video like this, you don't just play it once.
Which
oh, no.
usually happen late.
Look how high in the air he went.
Yeah.
I think he was so high in the air, they served him a Coke and some peanuts, and they told him to put his tray tables up.
There's no consequences when they do get caught. It's a minor offense. But
how is these incredibly dangerous events a minor offense? I mean, I know why, because California is going to California, and a lot of these dumbasses are juveniles who we don't want to punish for anything, but this is the kind of lawlessness that is happening on a weekly basis.
And usually there's looting that happens at the end to celebrate.
If there's an AutoZone nearby, good luck.
people are getting really hurt.
Actually, there is an AutoZone nearby that intersection. Uh-oh.
Not far away at Wilbur and Parthenia in Northridge, another street takeover ended in a crash that left 5 people injured. Some with serious injuries had to be rushed to nearby hospitals. The driver...
All right, whenever you hear all of our politicians talking about how we need to raise our taxes because of all the health care cuts and we need to cover everyone on Medi-Cal because the emergency rooms are going to be full. How full are the emergency rooms because we allow street takeovers?
Now, wait a minute. Go back to all the Looney Tunes episodes that you watched as a child. Remember what would happen when one of them would get kicked in the head by a horse? The eyes would go crossed. And then they'd have to get kicked in the head by a horse again for the eyes to uncross. Maybe after these idiots got hit by one of these cars doing donuts, they're going to walk away being able to put Rubik's Cubes together and do advanced calculus. Maybe that's what it takes to knock the jackass out of them.
Probably not.
At the scene.
I would ideally love for them to get drone footage and get all of the license plates involved because...
Oh, we can't do that. LAPD just ended their contract with Flock.
Oh, good.
Yep. We're so worried about privacy concerns that we don't care about stolen cars and nonsense like this.
This otherwise empty street turns into a mall parking lot, and it is full.
In a recent
By the way, I know that she doesn't want to show her face on camera, but pointing the camera at that woman's gut is not doing her any favors.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way to do that. But I understand why she doesn't want to show her face. As McDonald's about to explain here on his recent interview on Good Day LA, a lot of these are now run by the gangs.
Okay, fine. I understand why the news is trying to protect this woman's identity. But you're not supposed to put the camera on her spare tire.
Well, it is a car story.
On Good Day LA, LAPD Chief Jim McDonald weighed in on the persistent problem of street takeovers.
We've seen time and time again, like you're showing there, fires and shootings and innocent people getting hurt unnecessarily.
I gotta move. I am so sick of this crap. Might be one of those breaks where as soon as we go to commercial, I'm gonna go look on Zillow listings. There has to be a better way.
Because they showed up at one of these things. They think it's fun, but we see much more gang involvement now than we've seen in the past. And again, with that, it brings the potential for violence also.
They will only continue to escalate until there's loss of life. And from what I
Third time. Get
There
ready,
he goes.
kids.
saw in that video.
Boom! And the rocket's red glare.
There's loss of limbs perhaps going on already. And that is just terrible, especially in someone so young.
This poor girl's going to have to change her name to Peg.
She might.
Absolutely. That injury was just horrific. Now, today we learned that the street takeover task force has been decentralized.
Okay, now this is very important what she's about to talk about because you're about to hear a whole lot of insane bureaucracy speak.
The bureaucracy is real.
So back in 2024, a task force was put together by the LAPD to start cracking down on this nonsense. And whether it's due to budget cuts or pressure from other members of the city council, what have you, there no longer is a task force in the city of Los Angeles to go after this. But they don't want to say that. So get ready for some verbal gymnastics via our friend Gina Silva.
Well, you know what they could do? They could just monitor the street takeovers from the sky, and I know how to do that, without even having to rent a helicopter or a plane. Are you with me on this one?
All right, what are we doing?
That guy that got knocked into the air, you just give him a video camera.
I was told by our LAPD sources dismantled, but the word that the LAPD is using is decentralized, which means that the officers who were in this unit are no longer part of this. They're going back to their bureaus, and they will be responding to these street.
And this is the LAPD under pro-police Karen Bass. Yeah, right.
Takeovers, along with other calls that they have at the bureaus. The mayor's office did issue a statement saying that it's not being dismantled, that it's being decentralized, and in fact, they will continue to try to stop these.
What does decentralized mean? Means that there no longer is a unit specifically dedicated to shutting this stuff down.
But they use bureaucraties to explain it.
Yep.
Takeovers, and she mentioned that over 775.
So you need to ask yourself is why the city of Los Angeles no longer has a task force on something that is plaguing our streets every single week. Why, oh why? Who made that decision? Was it because the LAPD is that severely understaffed, or was there political pressure from the mayor's office and the city council to not go after the jackass kids?
Well, if the order is not to arrest anyone, then why bother with it?
There is that. There are plenty of other counties in the state of California where they figured out how to shut this thing down. In San Joaquin County, they tow every single car of every single participant, and nobody gets their car back until the case is adjudicated. And guess what? They don't go there anymore.
Citations have already been issued, and more than 300 cars have already been impounded.
Do you know how many cars are in the city of Los Angeles? 300 cars in 2 years. Yeah, we're doing great.
It sounds like from the neighbors that intersection right there has been a problem before. Did LAPD say they knew about that intersection being of concern?
This is one of the intersections that...
How could you not know? Look at all the tire marks in that intersection. There's more donuts going on there than at Winchell's.
And this is supposed to be a straight up suburban neighborhood in what some would say, I wouldn't say it, but some would say the good part of the valley.
Concerned, but there are so many, Christine. It's, you know, in the valley there are just, it seems like every intersection, especially this one, you can go, you know, for a very long time before there's a light, and so they pick up speed. And I don't know if we can actually pick it up, but
support our advertisers so I can afford a condo in San Francisco and get the hell out of here.
See it right over there. You can see that wall. They have hit that wall, according to the neighbors, several times.
Look at that. It looks like it came in like a wrecking ball.
Oh, my God. It looks like a grill in West Virginia.
Because people are always speeding, and not necessarily just the street takeover. It's just people going so fast, they lose control.
How would you like to wake up one morning and part of your brick wall is gone?
I'm sure it just didn't happen once.
And they've hit that wall. But when it comes to this street takeovers, I mean, they get so out of control. And, you know, by the time the officers get here, and one of the complaints from the neighbors was that when they are arriving, they arrive with lights and sirens. So as soon as people start hearing that, they immediately take off. And then by the time the officers are actually here,
the directive is do not arrest anybody. And that's what happens. Oh, we'll get them to knock it off. And then they go to another street and they start over again. The response is pathetic. And you're never going to hear McDonald criticize the mayor, because if he did, he'd get fired.
Everybody that should be arrested is gone.
Gina, you also mentioned dismantling that task force. Just last week, the chief also said that we're way behind. We have a big shortage of police officers in this town, so you kind of understand why they may have had to do that. But
no, I think we need this.
No, but I understand the point that he's making, because if you're going to send the cops into a situation like this, you don't want them to be outnumbered 100-1. So it's not like you can send 5 people or 10 people in. You have to send overwhelming force in, which is going to tie up a lot of your personnel. And if you're told not to arrest anyone, what's the point of sending all of your personnel just to shoo them away?
It makes that situation, a lot of others, much worse.
Oh, 100%. And again, the LAPD...
You know what we need to do? We need to do what happened in Oakland, where the CHP takes over these kinds of investigations and they join in and they add to the numbers. But no one's going to do that right now because Karen Bass doesn't want to highlight this problem, and neither does Gavin Newsom.
Nope.
He says it wasn't dismantled, it was decentralized. So, you know, our sources say the unit is not there. We'll still continue to try to stop these, but they'll be doing it from the bureaus, not from a specific unit.
Big issue in our city. Gina, thank you.
So there you go. Just a completely wild story in the San Fernando Valley as we aren't doing a damn thing to crack down on these very violent street takeovers.
It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you're watching us at johnnydon'tlike.com, make sure you hit that like button so it pushes us far and wide out in YouTube land. And Randy, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Steel Pulse with special guest Long Beach Dub All-Stars Eli Mack and Common Sense at the Pacific Amphitheater at the OC Fair on August 16th. Tickets are on sale now at packamp.com. And right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. All concert tickets include admission to the OC Fair. Tickets furnished by the Pacific Amphitheater. Good luck dialing.
Let's go to Cardi in Lancaster. Cardi, hello.
Hey, John. Hey, Randy. How you guys doing?
Good.
Well, the mayor buffoon, this is built by design. They're not going to do anything about it. They don't care. They'd rather put money instead of where it needs to be in the crime. This is a crime. 30 or 40 years ago in the Valley, if you did anything like this, you would be arrested. Your car should be impounded, and end of story till you go to trial. This is ridiculous. When are people going to wake up and say, maybe voting blue is not true?
Hey, that rhymed. You could be mayor.
Thank you.
Well, Mother Goose has some competition.
Karen, do you have a response?
If you're feeling down, if you're feeling blue, let's get help for you.
One of the additions to cashierisdummy.com that was requested last night was that we add
Doctor.
Well, the caller made an excellent point. If you're willing to put up with something, you get more of it. And Karen Bass and the city council and the current chief of police, McDonald, are willing to put up with it. I think that if the chief of police had it his way, he would make arrests and he would use a heavier hand. But ultimately, he works for the mayor, and the mayor doesn't want that to happen. The fish rots from the head, and the head is Karen Bass.
You know, it was only 2 months ago where you had that street takeover in downtown LA where the high-rise fancy apartment got looted, and Karen Bass and McDonald said, we're going to start cracking down on this. No, they're not.
All right. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button. We have 2 more hours to go. The Fix California hour is next. Jennifer Van Laar joins us. Don't you go anywhere.
Something's not right here.
Crime is up all over the state.
The homelessness in the city is out of control.
The economy is sick. Taxes are high.
Housing is expensive and businesses are leaving. California needs fixing. And John Phillips is just the man to lead the charge. It's the Fix California Hour with John Phillips and Randy Wang.
And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, we're broadcasting live on 790 KABC and 810 KSFO and broadcasting on video live and worldwide at JohnnyDon'tLike.com. You can watch us, react to the videos we play along with us, and participate in the chat room at JohnnyDon'tLike.com. And Johnny, we have some breaking news via our friends at LA Material. Lineage, the company in Boyle Heights that has the 85 million pounds of rotting food, just filed a permit with the city of Los Angeles to rebuild that warehouse.
Because why not?
Let's not forget, thanks to some great reporting, that one of Karen Bass's advisors is also doing PR for Lineage. So yes, she is going to sell out the city.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. It is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. She is the managing editor at redstate.com. You can follow her on X at Jen Van Laar. Jennifer Van Laar, welcome.
I'm so excited to be here.
Well, this is your first time on camera with us, so thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime.
So today is a big day for a bunch of reasons. We have Sheng Thao news up in Oakland. We have Gavin news here in, I guess, all over the state of California, including an essay that was just published from Gavin's mistress from back in the old days when he was mayor of San Francisco that he addressed oh so briefly in his autobiography. She is disputing some of the claims that he has made about their relationship, and now she herself is going public.
Yes, she published a very long essay in Vanity Fair, and I think actually Kamala might be behind some of it too. I was so excited when I saw that she was finally going public and kind of giddy to be on the show with you today to talk about it. But then as I read her essay, it's really hard to read. It's painful what this woman has gone through to just be a footnote in Gavin Newsom's ascent.
She claims in the essay that this affair essentially wrecked her life.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, and she even admits it's not just Gavin didn't ruin her life from it. She did have an alcohol and drug problem. Near the end, she was doing cocaine so that she could drink as much as she wanted to, and then was attracted to Gavin's power. And the sex came from that attraction to power, not necessarily Gavin. And her husband left when she came clean to him. So she lost her marriage, lost her job, pretty much became a pariah in San Francisco.
So here's what she had to say. She traces the affair's start to July of 2005 after a City Hall staffer's wedding, where she says she wore a strapless white dress. Encounters followed at Newsom's Russian Hill penthouse. They would apparently have sex in rooms at North Beach bars and a Los Angeles hotel. She recalls intense moments, including once ripping the buttons off his shirt, and on 2 occasions of heavy drinking that left her with incomplete memories of the night. It sounds like they were doing it all over the place.
Yeah, the first occasion you mentioned after that wedding, she didn't remember anything after being in his chauffeured town car, going back to the Carneros Inn, which was actually managed by Plump Jack at the time. And she wakes up the next morning with that dress on, and it was wet from the waist down because she had been so drunk that she wet the bed. And apparently she left her gold bracelet in that room when she hurriedly left the next morning and did the walk of shame. And Gavin just casually dropped that bracelet onto her desk the next Monday at work.
She talked about having sex with him at a variety of bars in North Beach. How in the world, I guess you could do it in the kitchen or the back area behind the bar. How in the world do you have sex at a crowded bar?
I have no experience in that regard, so I just, with my imagination, can't figure out how it would be very pleasurable.
especially if you're the mayor. If you're the mayor of a city and
In that town car, his sister was in the town car with them and other people. She doesn't remember how many people. So everyone around them had to have known what was happening.
it seems like they weren't being particularly discreet.
She went with friends down to LA when she knew that he would be there for work, and then, just let him know basically that she was there. And he was more than happy to have her come to his room for a booty call. He was pursuing her as well. It wasn't like she was just some stalker.
And he claimed in the book that he had moral objections to this relationship and that he was the one that came clean to her husband, who worked with him as his campaign manager for his reelection campaign. She says in the essay that's not what happened at all.
That's not even what was reported at the time. At the time, it was reported that Alex Tork came into the office just angry and wanting to talk to Gavin and confronted him about it because he wanted Gavin to have to look him in the eye and admit it. And that was after Ruby had told him, because obviously he's not just going to go walk in months after his wife has left the administration to go into inpatient rehab and just come in there spontaneously. She had told him, against the advice of her sobriety counselors, who said, well, if he doesn't know and things are going well with your marriage, just it might be bad for your recovery to tell him. But then as she watched Alex continue to work on Gavin's reelection campaign and spend all this time with him, she felt so guilty that here he is out there helping this man who had betrayed him by sleeping with his wife. And so she decided to come clean then.
I came away from her essay with the impression that Gavin would have been happy to let this go on forever had they not been caught or had she not cut it off.
Oh, I agree. And it's more that it got cut off because she went to rehab because her sister and family kind of staged an intervention after they'd had to take her passed out and OD'd body back home at 3 and 4 in the morning.
She talks about her raging alcoholism and her drug addiction. Did she talk about his at all? About what substances he was consuming? Because he's someone who went to rehab allegedly as well.
Yeah, after this incident, he claimed that he had a problem with alcohol. They were both drinking a lot. And I find it hard to believe that she said she was doing lines of cocaine all throughout the evening so that she could keep drinking, that he had to have at least been aware of what she was doing, if not partaking in it. But she didn't come out and say anything like that. And it struck me that he was flirting with her right in front of her husband on numerous occasions that she described in that essay. And even at that wedding, her husband went on home and Gavin stayed there and said, hey, just go back to the hotel with me. What kind of person does that? If you or I are at a wedding and we see a friend who's had too much to drink and their spouse is saying, hey, come on, let's go home. Do we say, stay here and party with me? No. We say, oh, sweetie, I think it's best if you go on home and we'll catch up later. Like, what kind of person does what Gavin was doing?
Has he ever commented on whether or not he's had an addiction to cocaine?
No, not that I know of.
Because I'm trying to think about where he is with substances. And I can't really place it because we know that he went to rehab after the affair. He said he had a problem with alcohol, and that's why he checked himself in. He understood that he had a problem, and he wanted to be proactive about it. But then we've heard him publicly state that he sits at home and watches the news at night drinking a glass of wine. And we know that he doesn't believe in clean and sober. He's also made that crystal clear. And then when one of his friends was being interviewed about Gavin's reaction to the LA fires, the friend stated publicly that Gavin was so distraught about the LA fires that the night of the fires, he drank an entire bottle of tequila on his own. And if you've been to rehab and you quit cold turkey, or you've gone through the 10 steps, whatever, you're not supposed to binge drink anymore. No. You're not probably even supposed to have wine every single night while you watch the news. And I honestly don't know where he is with that. Did she give the impression that him going to rehab was political cover? Or did she think that he had a problem?
She doesn't really address it. But she does talk about that all of their encounters were around alcohol, of her drinking champagne and wine, and then later the cocaine. And I mean, I'm sure you've heard all the rumors I have over the years about Gavin and different substances, but a bottle of tequila, even a small one, I don't know anyone who can drink an entire bottle in an evening and be able to handle that.
I'm a drinker. I love my libations. If I drank an entire bottle of tequila, I think I'd be in the hospital.
Yeah, same.
The only people who can do that are people who are such raging alcoholics that their tolerance is so high that they can get away with it. But I mean,
people who are medicating with other things too, like the uppers and the downers and the cocaine so that you can do the tequila.
What does she think of Gavin today?
She doesn't really say, but she does. What struck me was when she said near the end of it that when she read his memoir, she was again feeling like other people were speaking for her who didn't really know her, and that her story was being told by other people in their way. Kind of like when Jennifer Newsom did her whole Mean Girl thing, where she wrote that 820-word screed about Ruby back when the news of the affair first broke. And I get the impression from that she's not a fan of how he dismisses this affair as just the briefest of affairs, even though from what I calculated in this story, it was 11 months and would have kept going had she not gone to rehab.
And when contacted about it, his press office is saying he said what he had to say about it in his book, and he's not going to comment further. However, what he said in the book and what she said in the essay are different. Wouldn't you assume, since what they're saying is different, that he would be willing to clear the air and to explain the differences? But apparently he doesn't have any interest in doing that.
I think he's going to have to when it comes to a Democrat primary. There's no way that the people who are going to be running against him are going to let him get away with that. And she did say in this essay that when everything first came out in 2007, that Kamala called her and was actually there for her and advised her to not say anything right then, but to give herself some time to process things before she spoke. And that she enjoyed that advice from Kamala. Now, I think that Kamala was probably trying to do some cleanup for Gavin at the time and doing it in that kind of a diplomatic way. But it did work out for her that she was able to kind of process things without being in the middle of tabloids, which isn't an easy thing to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if Team Kamala was a little bit behind having this come out in Vanity Fair, because it's been, 6 months since Gavin's book came out, and we didn't hear anything until now.
How close is this woman to Kamala?
I know they all work together in the San Francisco political circles. I don't know what their relationship has been since then, but it's definitely something I'm interested in looking into.
That would be interesting if Kamala is behind this woman coming out and putting her story out now, because as you look at the 2028 presidential Democratic primary, there's really not enough room in that primary for both of them, because they have the same donors, they have the same consultants, they have a lot of the same constituents and voters and interest groups that support them and unions that support them. And if they go in and get involved in a battle to the death with one another over a finite number of resources, they're going to split them down the middle, and some other establishment candidate or some DSA candidate is going to be able to leapfrog them and win that primary. I wonder if she is behind this, if Kamala's trying to knock him out early so she has that lane all to herself.
I wouldn't be surprised, and especially given that it was just yesterday that the story started coming out about Kamala floating plans to run in 2028. Pretty coincidental timing there.
One thing that we know about cheaters is that cheaters very rarely change their ways. If you're a cheater, if you're someone who's willing to have affairs on the side, it's not usually a one-time thing. I guess there probably are people where they've had a one-time thing, but more often than not, particularly with men, I would assume that it's a pattern of behavior. Have we heard any rumors or any allegations of any infidelity in recent years? Or is he trying to be a good boy now that he knows that the press is paying attention to him because he's going to be running for president?
There have been very loud rumors for at least 6 years that he has been having an affair with Lindsay Cobia, who is the highest paid employee at his Campaign for Democracy PAC. I think she got like a $200,000 bonus at the end of last year. I need to double check the numbers on it, but it was a very significant 6-figure number because I remember my jaw dropping when I looked at that. But it's never been confirmed, but it's been a very loud rumor throughout California.
It'll be interesting to see how he responds to it. We mentioned that his press office is saying that he has no plans on adding anything to this, but you can't control what reporters ask you when you sit down for an interview. And if he's going to be a candidate for the presidency, he's going to have to make himself available to CNN and MSNBC and the liberal podcasts and all the usual places that candidates go. I wonder what his answer will be when asked about it, because the question will almost certainly come up.
Well, they could even go about it in a little bit of a roundabout way, because the first flirtation that she describes is when they're at a Mexican restaurant. Her husband is there too, because people from the office, and that she was not drinking. She was in one of her sobriety periods, but Gavin's kind of staring at her and she catches his gaze, looks up, and he just gets uncomfortable and says, "Oh, you look really good. You've lost that pregnancy weight." And that she kind of looked over at her husband's margarita, wishing that she could drink it. And that's when she started thinking, oh, wow, this guy might like me. But what kind of a person, again, in front of someone's wife, who's your employee and you're one of your best friends, is saying that kind of stuff and staring at them? It's a little creepy, and it really should give us some questions about Gavin's leadership ability and how he is as an employer.
His come on line was, "You've lost the pregnancy weight."
Yep. I think her baby might have been 6 months old that time. And, and I laughed at when I saw that. And I forget how else she described it, but it sounded like classic Gavin. But just before I came on the air, Susan Crabtree had tweeted at me and said, if his comments about post-pregnancy weight don't lose him the woman vote, then his wife's comments about Ruby might. And I didn't think about that. A lot of women are going to be a little defensive about the whole pregnancy weight comment.
I'll tell you, I think one of the things that he's going to battle when he runs for president is that he comes across as being inauthentic. He comes across as being inauthentic just across the board to me. But when you read this essay and you hear how he interacts with women that he's pursuing, he comes across as really inauthentic. Part of his calculus when he runs for president is he thinks that women are going to vote for him, in part because of his looks, in part because of his policies that he has supported, particularly in the Democratic primary. And I think that if he's going to be successful in that primary, it's going to be women that really push him over the top. How do you think women are going to react when they read this?
It's hard for me to tell how liberal women will react because I don't really identify with them. But I felt bad for her. I felt like she was blaming herself more than she should have because, yes, even though she was choosing to flirt with him and meet in places, she doesn't remember a number of these incidents and was completely wasted. And he was using that was her boss at the time. He's missing all of that.
Fascinating stuff. If you want more content related to this story and so many others, definitely check out Jennifer Van Laar's reporting at redstate.com. She is an excellent investigative reporter. She's also the managing editor over at Red State. You can also follow her on X at Jen Van Laar. Jennifer Van Laar, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
It's the John Phillips Show.
Car accidents happen constantly. If you happen to get hurt in one, for over 8 years, I've been recommending one guy, Clark Fielding, and the jaws of justice at Fielding Law. At 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275, 833-88-SHARK. Even a minor accident can lead to a major long-term injury, so don't go at this alone. Get the jaws of justice on your side, helping you with your case. That's Clark Fielding at Fielding Law. 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275. Clark Fielding has got 5-star reviews on Yelp and Google. This is the guy you want in your corner, helping you out with your case, so find out if you have one. Get a free consultation from Clark Fielding and the jaws of justice at Fielding Law at 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275, 833-88-SHARK, and go to the website, clarkthesharklaw.com. That's where you can download the accident preparation guide at clarkthesharklaw.com.
Hurt in an accident? Bite back. Call Clark. 833-88-SHARK. clarkthesharklaw.com.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is a telephone number. If you'd like to email us, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you can not only listen to us on the radio, but you can watch us on YouTube, participate in the chat, and smash that like button.
We're broadcasting live on video every single day at johnnydon'tlike.com. I bought that domain name. I don't know what took so long. johnnydon'tlike.com. You can watch us. You can react to the videos along with us. Play along in the chat room. Make sure you smash that thumbs up, that like button. Leave comments on all our on-demand videos. That's right. Not only are we live here every single day from noon to 3, but we have all kinds of segments and stuff that you can watch whenever you want on your time. Make sure you like those and make sure you comment on them. We want to hear from you.
The Fix California Hour continues in moments. Don't you go anywhere.
For over a year, I have upgraded my grilling game on my Solaire infrared grill. I was talking about these things for a while. I had one of the little demo ones, and I decided to go down to Rhett Rasmussen's warehouse in Whittier, check out the operation, and decided I'm investing in one of these. I bought one, and I love it. This stainless steel infrared grill is going to last me forever. And it is a hot and fast grill. That means that it gets up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes. It makes cooking on the grill something you can do every single night of the week. Does a great job on steak, chicken, fish, sausage, vegetables, what have you. I'm a big fan of this thing, so check it out for yourself. See if the Solaire makes sense for you. Check out their website, besthotgrill.com/Randy. That's besthotgrill.com/Randy. besthotgrill.com/Randy.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. And Randy, at midnight tonight, the latest edition of the Accountability Podcast drops.
The 5th episode of the Accountability Podcast drops at its new and permanent home.
Accountability.
JohnnyDon'tLike.com. We realized it was way too complicated pushing 2 YouTube channels at the same time. So it's all in one place. You go to JohnnyDon'tLike.com. Right below the live feed is on-demand segments of the John Phillips Show. And right below that is the Accountability Podcast. And Johnny, our newest episode has us talking about Kamala telling people that she's thinking about running for president again.
It's a good one, so make sure you check that out. And how are we right now with the likes?
We are this close to 200 likes on today's show, 199. I don't have any other prizes to give out, but we did launch the Drops website for you as a thank you for getting us to 500 likes yesterday. So if you want to play all the silly drops you want, you can just go to cashierisdummy.com.
If the cashier is dummy.
I can't believe that domain was available.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Here with an update on the crisis going on right now in Boyle Heights, Mr. Randy Wang.
That's right, everyone. It's time for another edition of You Can Smell It Right Here.
You can smell it right here.
Now, this report that we're going to play from NBC4 was from last night, so it does not have the news that just broke from LA Material minutes ago that the company Lineage, that there's the warehouse that burned down because of the other company's solar panel farm, and it's their 85 million pounds of food that are destroying this neighborhood on a daily basis. They just applied for a permit to rebuild that warehouse right where it is. And the residents are not happy.
I can imagine why.
Now, onto the report that we're about to play. Part of the reason they're not happy is, once again, they're being lied to by their city government in L.A. Mayor Karen Bass and their city councilwoman Isabel Jurado.
It's not a namsy-pamsy thing.
And they're being lied to by the L.A. County Department of Public Health in Dr. Barbara Ferrer.
Yeah.
The fake doctor, excuse me.
Wash your hands often and always before eating and after toileting.
Because Karen Bass and the Department of Public Health were sending letters to each other and sending letters to Lineage about this new public health emergency in the fly infestations that are carrying diseases that, if they got into open wounds, could give you illness or even kill you. And guess what? It wasn't Barbara Ferrer who told the public in Boyle Heights about the flies. It wasn't Karen Bass who told the public about the flies. It was investigative reporting from NBC4 that broke the news. And so you have to remember, when you hear this story, the incident now that I think might be worthy of a full-on evacuation wasn't being discussed by local leaders, even though they knew about it, until it was brought to light by local news reporting.
The residents of Boyle Heights should demand that Gavin Newsom show up and answer questions, because up until now, and he still hasn't shown up, Gavin Newsom has stayed as far away from Boyle Heights as humanly possible, where the people are suffering.
For more on the continuing disaster in Boyle Heights, here is NBC LA and NBC4 Investigates.
Meanwhile, cleanup continues at the site of the warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. Workers there removing rotting food from inside that building. NBC4 Investigates told you last week about the fly infestation that experts say could spread a disease capable of infecting open wounds.
That disease is called myiasis.
That is so disgusting.
Shouldn't the Department of Public Health be the one to tell people about this and not the local news?
They just tell you to wear a condom.
Well, now the community has sent a letter to the county supervisors and the Department of Public Health citing our reporting and demanding action. More now from NBC4's Lolita Lopez.
Do you think there's any chance that any of our 5 county supervisors, the 5 queens as they're known, are regretting not taking the opportunity to fire Barbara Ferrer when they could have?
The fact that they haven't done that is an indictment on that board.
People living near the Lineage cold storage warehouse say they have gone from smelling smoke during the days-long fire in June to the stench of millions and millions of pounds of decomposing.
No, don't zoom in on the pig's feet.
They always do that.
Food inside, and more recently, a fly infestation we first told you about last week. NBC4 Investigates reviewed a 4-page report prepared by a pest control company for the city of Los Angeles.
So, again, what you're hearing right now is the city of LA, Karen Bass, the city council, knowing about an immediate danger to the public that they did not tell the public about.
The fact that they hid that from the residents as they're telling them that it's safe to breathe in the smoke and stay in their homes should cause all of them to lose their jobs.
I know it's a really tough decision in November as we're faced with 2 really bad choices. And policy-wise, they're very similar. But I'm going to tell you right now, I straight up do not trust Karen Bass. She has proven over and over again that all she cares about is covering her ass. And yeah, I know that rhymed. I could run for mayor.
Neither one of them deserves to win, but after her performance as mayor, Karen Bass deserves to lose.
It warns green bottle flies on the Lineage property are dangerous and breed quickly in the heat wave and spread to neighborhoods. The report describes how flies could spread myiasis, an infection in an open wound.
There's this
and let's also tie this together. John, do you remember in the early days of this, one of the stories we covered, a woman talked to the local news about how she took a bath and came out of the bath with all kinds of sores all over her body?
An old lady, so it wasn't like she was sleeping around.
No. But so now think about that. Because of the disaster zone that these people are in and the toxic chemicals that are in the air and that were in the water, now you have a bunch of open wounds, and then you have a bunch of flies that if they get into those open wounds could give you a fatal disease.
This is the worst game of dominoes ever.
Massive infestation of these flies, which could literally make people not just sick but kill people, is how we have confirmed finally that there is information that people have not been sharing with the public, and we're very grateful to NBC for sharing that with us.
Why wouldn't Barbara Ferrer tell anyone about this?
Yeah, where the hell is she?
By the way, they have the letter on the screen right now that they sent to the Board of Supervisors, and I'll read part of it. Dr. Davis, that's Muntu Davis, Dr. Ferrer, who's not a doctor, Chair Solis, Hilda, and the honorable supervisors, read this first and then tell us why we had to learn it from a television station.
NBC Group Protect LA Now says the NBC4 story led them to send a letter to the LA County Board of Supervisors and the Department of Public Health requesting a mandatory evacuation of the nearby community. She says air purifiers and other resources given to neighbors is not enough.
I don't think the air purifier is going to do anything about the fly that's going to get into your open wounds.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have been advocating on behalf of the families, the communities, and the businesses.
Lineage has been cited and fined $500 a day since...
That'll do it. This is how these people operate. It is the government that we have in Los Angeles, and I will go on a limb and say it's worse than the government in Oakland. They have shown us over and over and over again in the city and the county, they are not prepared for a disaster. These people are incompetent, and all they care about is minimizing whatever damage is going to happen to their careers.
Imagine what would happen if we had the big one with these idiots in charge.
Last week by the county department.
Well, we already heard from Dr. Lucy Jones. Based on the age of the infrastructure, LA will be underwater.
Public health for unsanitary and nuisance conditions. County Supervisor Hilda.
So the best the county can do when the rotting food is leading to disease-carrying flies is we're going to give you the same fine that we give the restaurant that we found a rat in. $500 a day. That'll do it. And Hilda's going to run for Congress on this record again because she can never retire.
How old is she at this point?
Well, that we can find out. Hilda Solis age. Anyone want to guess in the chat? Hilda is 68 years old. None of these people can ever give up their power. And she has zero record of anything successful to run on. She has represented on the LA County Board of Supervisors Skid Row for 12 years. Looks just as bad as it ever was. Yes, let's give her a promotion to Washington.
Police, who represents Boyle Heights, told NBC4 in an emailed statement that reads in part, because this incident occurred within the city of Los Angeles, mandatory evacuation decisions are made through the incident command structure led by the city and its emergency response agencies.
This is how every single disaster, whether it's homelessness or this, it's the city and county pointing fingers at each other saying, no, this is your job. No, this is your job. The government in the city and county of Los Angeles does not work.
What's interesting is that she blames the city and then she specifically blames the Department of Public Health at the county level. So she's throwing some shade at Babs.
Well, Hilda, you've had 7 years to fire the fake doctor, and you have not. By the way, Barbara Ferrer, the woman who decided not to share with the public about disease-carrying flies, makes $600,000 a year.
In coordination with the County of Los Angeles's public health authorities. According to the supervisor, the Department of Public Health explained it issues mandatory evacuation orders only where there is an imminent risk to life.
This sounds like one.
Wait, isn't she the same witch that shut LA County down forever during COVID?
Yes.
I have a hard time understanding.
I got to get out of this county. I was just going to get out of the city. I got to get out of the county.
We asked Public Health if they plan to issue a mandatory evacuation order following the request from the community organization. They tell us in an emailed statement, people are not being required to leave the area. The Public Health Directive issued on June 29th required Lineage to put in place a community exposure mitigation plan for the surrounding community. The plan includes support such as indoor air quality improvements, temporary respite, temporary relocation, odor mitigation actions.
How does this stop the flies?
Yeah, what is being done? They say it's getting worse.
Nothing is being done. These people have been left to fend for themselves. And the city and the county think they can just blame the company for this. But you know what? The company is responsible for a lot here, although it was the solar panel company that started this fire. But the city is supposed to be protecting its people. The county is supposed to be protecting its people. And they're not even doing the bare minimum. Let's not forget why Babs got cussed out at that town hall in Boyle Heights, which you can watch on the accountability podcast at johnnydon'tlike.com, episode 3. It's because she set up health clinics where people were walking in with lungs filled with fluid and they were being offered Tylenol.
Communication with the community during cleanup. These measures are intended to help reduce community exposure.
We're very concerned that this is a public health crisis. We're not talking about something that is a pie in the sky possibility. It is happening in real time.
Lineage says it is offering support to affected families and has removed half of the rotting food. LA Mayor Karen Bass has given the company 45 days to clean up the site. That date, August 13th. Lolita Lopez, NBC4 News.
So there you go. I can't believe that this disaster gets worse every single day.
And no one in the government seems to be the least bit concerned.
They will say, we sent a strongly worded letter. They'll say, I want to do something about this, but they're not doing anything. Listener Twins Mommy for Life writes in, Ferrer should be fired and arrested.
It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Randy, how are we doing on the likes?
Let's see. You can smash that like button, the thumbs up button, while you're watching us live at johnnydon'tlike.com. We're at 229 likes. Thank you very much. And make sure after the show, watch some of our on-demand content and write down some comments. We want to hear from you. Engagement is very important according to the algorithm.
You can smash it right here.
I am going to not make that a drop. I've been doing you a lot of favors lately.
You've had some opportunities. I'll admit that.
A younger version of me would have surreptitiously kept all of these things in a blackmail folder, but I am an older, wiser, and more generous person, and I wouldn't do that to you.
What are you? The Lost Dong brother?
You should hear all the drops I have of Conway and Whitman.
All right. Here with an update on illegal dumping in the city of Dumpy, Mr. Randy Wang.
A Oakland City councilman is offering a $500 reward if you know who dumped a bunch of crap in the city of Dumpy. For more, here is a report from NBC in the Bay.
There are lots of Oaklanders who are upset about people continually hauling their unwanted things out onto the street and leaving there. There is now a...
And again, because it all is connected, there are several reasons there is a massive illegal dumping problem in the city of Oakland. Enforcement is lax. You have contractors that bring in debris from neighboring cities and counties and dump it off when they're driving through the Bay Bridge. You also have, and it's always important to remember this, the city charges more for trash haul than anywhere else in the state because of the crooked contracts that apparently were bribed from the California Waste Solutions Company, a.k.a. the Dong family. The Dong family is tied to all of this illegal dumping.
Growing group of people who want to show the folks doing the dumping that the community is watching. These photos of what appear to be people illegally dumping
They're literally just dumping it out of a U-Haul.
Zero discretion at all.
This is why you have to watch the show at johnnydon'tlike.com. The image of somebody literally just taking a couch out of a U-Haul and dumping it on the side of the road in Oakland. My goodness.
Rounds on Maxwell Park neighborhood social media pages. They struck a nerve.
That is not a Craigslist curb alert.
This is so bad.
The couch is upside down.
For Councilmember Kevin Jenkins, who represents the area.
I was absolutely fed up.
Jenkins posted a video offering to pay $500 of his own money to the first person to identify the people in the photos.
People ain't gonna rat for only $500.
No, you got to up the ante on that one.
I need your help. I have a $500 reward.
Lots of people responded, and Jenkins says he paid the reward to the first person who offered information that lined up.
I love that. He actually sent someone a Venmo.
And then posted it on social media so everyone knows he's legit.
He's one of the okay ones.
He says he'll pass the...
You got him, you got Ken Houston, you got Noel Gallo. The rest of them,
details onto the city, which can look into it further.
This is not normal. People should not have to live amongst trash and filth. A lot of people just want basic quality of life things in Oakland.
Jenkins and other city leaders are trying different approaches. Saturday, the city hosted a party where people
Was that a bum using a gay pride flag as a blanket?
Yes, it was. Great eye. Hey, there could be gay bums. You do you.
He hosted a party where people could dispose of unwanted large household items. Earlier this year, the council approved more funding for cleanup work and voted to...
Every single time they do one of these shots, it looks like a movie set on a disaster. Earthquake 510.
Double fines for illegal dumping of up to $5,000. Jenkins hopes public call-outs help too.
I didn't want to be assumptive, and maybe the person could or would be willing to go in and get their stuff back. But
No. There's nothing you can assume out of someone dumping a mattress and a couch out of the back of a U-Haul in Oakland.
Read the newspaper, Pollyanna.
we have to highlight this issue in the city. We have to make people afraid that they will get caught.
After this latest incident, he thinks he'll offer up more rewards in the future. Alyssa Gord, NBC Bay Area News.
There you go. Rewards if you can give the council leader tips on illegal dumping in the city of Dumpy.
We've got one more hour coming up. Homelessness is not just increasing in Los Angeles, and we'll have more on the Sheng Thao bombshell that dropped earlier today. It's the John Phillips Show.
We can agree to disagree, but our views are unapologetically right. It's the John Phillips Show.
And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, we're broadcasting live on the radio on 790 KABC and 810 KSFO and broadcasting live and worldwide on video. Just go to johnnydon'tlike.com to watch us every single day from noon to 3. You can hang out in the chat room, which is lively. You can hit that like button. You can comment on all of our on-demand content at johnnydon'tlike.com. There is tons and tons of stuff on there. The Accountability Podcast, my show, The News Blitz, segments from this show you may have missed. You never have to watch anything else.
Look at the comment from the Ed.
Johnny looks like British royalty in the one AI.
Hopefully not Charles. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, we know that the homeless numbers are going up in the city of Los Angeles, but it's not just in the city of Angels that's seeing a bump in its homeless population. So is Long Beach.
Long Beach has seen yet another spike in its homelessness numbers. So let's all say it together. Great job, Rex Richardson.
Another awful mayor.
For more on this, we go to NBC LA.
Homelessness is rising again in Long Beach. The city's newly released point-in-time count shows the number of people experiencing homelessness has reached...
No pride flags in those encampments. Those are some Christmas jammies, though.
Its highest level in at least 6 years. For months, NBC4 has been asking city leaders whether their strategy is working. And now, with another year of data showing homelessness continues to grow, NBC4's Macaulay Medina is asking those same questions. And he joins us live from Long Beach, hopefully with some answers, Mac.
All right. Before we get to this report, and believe me, I have no love for Rex Richardson. I have no love for Karen Bass. You can't just blame them, though. This is a state issue. And the main problem with homelessness in California is not a lack of housing. It's not that we are unwilling to help out a friend or a family member or a neighbor when they fall on hard times. The problem that we have right now is a permissive attitude about drugs. These are not people who are living on the streets because the plant closed down. These are not people living on the streets because the rent is too damn high. These are people who are living on the streets because they're taking meth, because they're taking fentanyl, or because they're crazy, or a combination of the three. That's it. It's not the winos of yesteryear. It's not the bag ladies of yesteryear. This is not the Great Depression. This is a substance abuse problem that people have, and they are attracted to the state of California because we look the other way instead of stopping it when we see open-air drug use, when we know someone is a junkie and an addict. We do not bust up the homeless encampments where the drug sales take place and the drug consumption takes place. And unless and until we change our tune on that subject, people are going to be living in their own filth, spreading diseases and spreading misery. And it's as simple as that. And that's Gavin's fault. And that reason in and of itself is a reason that he should never be able to get close to the White House.
We did get some answers, Carolyn. For days now, the city's latest numbers really tell two stories here. The number overall of homeless people in Long Beach is certainly growing. It is on the rise, but more homeless people are being sheltered now here in Long Beach. As you mentioned,
is that drug-free shelter or is that anything goes shelter?
Just imagine what a different state we would live in if the Midnight Mission was in charge of the shelters and we went back to our drug laws before we decided to decriminalize it. We could fix this problem.
We do a lot of events with the Union Rescue Mission in Los Angeles, and they do the actual work of getting people clean, getting their lives together, getting them to the point where they can sustain themselves. The goal of the state is to go through the housing first ideology, which means if you're homeless, we want you to be a ward of the state forever, and we will put you in permanent supportive housing, never, ever, ever trying to get you back on your feet. That's the goal of the state, and that was authored, by the way, by L.A. County Supervisor, then State Senator Holly Mitchell.
If you actually want to put a dent in homelessness, don't vote for any tax increases for money that is going to be used for the homeless. If you want to do something, write a check to the Union Rescue Mission, because that group is doing God's work.
And up in the Bay Area, you could say the same thing about the Salvation Army. Our friend Tom Wolf got clean because of that drug-free housing program. He was on the streets. He was doing heroin and fentanyl, and he got clean, while so many others don't have that opportunity because of housing first nonsense, where you get an SRO in the Tenderloin and you're allowed to buy drugs and use drugs in there, and people get carried out in a body bag.
Been asking the city now for months if the city is on the right track. We actually talked to the city manager a couple of months ago, and he said yes, they have confidence in the leadership of the Homeless Bureau. We tried to ask him and city leaders again. Here's what we found. Long Beach's homeless population is growing again, evident today here in North Long Beach next to Colin Powell Elementary, but neighbors reporting upticks really across much of the city. The latest point-in-time count found 3,729 people experiencing homelessness in Long Beach. That's up from 3,595 last year.
By the way, and this is what you always have to take into consideration. I know LA is a much bigger, vast area. LA is like 500 square miles, but Long Beach is still a very large city when it comes to population and when it comes to geography. And Long Beach doesn't even have 10% of what LA has.
No, Long Beach exists in the shadow of Los Angeles, so we don't think of it as being that big. Long Beach is the size of Atlanta.
It's a big city.
Nearly a 4% increase, and the highest total recorded in the last 6 years. Since 2020, homelessness in Long Beach has increased by more than 80%. But the report also highlights some signs of progress. More people are now staying in shelters. The number of people living unsheltered dropped slightly, down about 18 people compared to last year. City officials say expanded shelter capacity is helping move more people indoors. The city also says 1,702 people were moved into permanent housing last year.
What does that actually mean, the concept of permanent housing? Because you know what? If the concept is everyone who's homeless gets a free apartment for the rest of their life, yes, we're never going to build our way out of this problem. The whole point of a shelter is you're there for a little while, we clean you up, we get you detoxed, and we get you some skills so you can provide for yourself. And if you still want to be a drag to society, that's what the jail's for.
Gains have not been enough to reverse the overall trend. Do you have confidence in the leadership of the Bureau?
I do, absolutely.
For months.
Shengi.
Absolutely, absolutely.
NBC4 has repeatedly asked city leaders whether they still have confidence in the city's homelessness strategy and the leadership overseeing it.
I have utmost confidence.
Now with homelessness.
Oh, Rex.
By the way, that's the basketball arena there. For whatever reason, they made their basketball arena at Long Beach State look like the Luxor.
What is that about?
Since reaching another 6-year high, we asked those same questions again. NBC4 contacted every member of the Long Beach City Council, along with Mayor Rex Richardson and City Manager Tom Modica, asking whether they still believe the city's strategy is working and whether any changes are needed. Modica referred us to the city's Department of Health and Human Services Public Affairs Office.
The one benefit of living in Long Beach as opposed to anywhere else in LA County, they have their own health department, which means they were not ruled in COVID by Babs.
Yeah.
Pasadena, too.
Yes.
Who said this in part: the city believes its homelessness response is making progress in important areas while identifying opportunities to strengthen services and improve outcomes.
This is what they always do. It doesn't matter how bad the numbers are. We're doing the right thing and we're staying the course. That is always the answer. And let's go ahead and have an Academy Award speech where we thank everyone involved. They never acknowledge that they failed. Never. And they just keep doubling and tripling down on what we know doesn't work.
Future progress could also be difficult because of expected federal and local funding cuts. Councilmember Christina Duggan told NBC4 the city's making progress preventing homelessness and
preventing homelessness doesn't mean anything.
And it's the same response in Long Beach that we got from Bass, which is it's Donald Trump's fault, it's Gavin Newsom's fault.
Ending housing, but said accountability needs to play a great
Hey, that's the name of our podcast. New episode tomorrow. JohnnyDon'tLike.com.
role in the city's response. Councilmember Daryl Supernall was unavailable for an interview today, but said in a statement in part he's working on new initiatives to improve communication and accountability within the Homeless Service Bureau while seeking additional county assistance for waterways in his district. Councilmember Sorrow says,
okay, the reason that we named the podcast the Accountability Podcast is because that is the most overused word on planet Earth, and it is totally hollow. It means nothing.
Important that we continue our commitment and work and focus on enhancing prevention and expanding housing opportunities. She did not address if she had confidence in the leadership or if any changes had to be made. Councilmember Mary Zendeja's office did not provide a separate statement, instead referring us to the City Public Information Office and previous interviews with the city manager. Mayor Rex Richardson's office was working on a response but did not get back to us.
Why is he dressed like an astronaut?
Headline. We did hear from
used to be a big aerospace area.
Councilmember Megan Kerr's office today, writing our office has no comment for you at this time.
I tried for 2 weeks to try to get a hold of you.
She also refused comment.
Oh, yeah. This is the lady who refused to talk to McCullough because she was about to get on a golf cart to a Pride event and refused to say if she had any confidence in the homeless services.
To us in May when we tried to get an answer then.
Are you satisfied with how homelessness is being handled in Long Beach?
Have a great Sunday. Enjoy.
Why do politicians do that? It is such a bad look. It's one thing if they're asking you something that's totally out of bounds. Howard Stern used to do that back in the old days, where they'd send a reporter out who usually had some sort of physical deformity, and they would ask an inappropriate question to a public official expecting an answer. Okay, you're not going to answer those questions. I understand. But asking a council member about a homeless population that's going up, given the fact that they're spending a fortune, is totally within bounds. It is an appropriate question. It's one that the politician should expect to be asked, and they should have an answer ready. And the fact that she's acting like he was on the Howard Stern show, asking her what kind of kink she's into, is unbelievable.
Now, John, I have a follow-up question for you.
Yeah?
How far do you think she was going that she needed the golf cart?
Well, 10 feet.
Have a great Sunday. Enjoy.
That's a powerful golf cart.
Yeah. What kind of horsepower does that have?
We also never heard back from Vice Mayor Yoranga, Councilmember Rick Odes. By our deadline, Councilmember Allen said they were working on a response, but we have not received that yet. And Councilmember Thrash Nook's office emailed us saying that she's confident in the leadership and does not believe that the current Housing First strategy needs to change. She says it needs to expand.
Of course. We just need to spend more money on this. The problem is we just haven't spent enough. Even though when we weren't spending any money on this, the problem wasn't nearly this bad.
Maybe the council's taking meth too. Idiots.
So there you go. That all being said, Long Beach is still a much better run city than the city of Los Angeles.
But there wasn't one sane one on that entire council.
No, there was not.
Not one. No one could say, not one member of that council could say, this is unacceptable and what we're doing isn't working. We need to figure out how to be better stewards of tax dollars and fix the problem. Not one could muster the will to say that.
So there you go. Homelessness in Long Beach has increased.
I'm telling you, it's Orange County or bust. Because they're screwed up in LA. They're screwed up in Long Beach. I guess some of those smaller towns are okay. But this kind of stupidity, man, is it contagious?
If I didn't have to make the commute to Culver City, I'd live in Huntington Beach.
My goodness. This problem is never going to go away with these people in charge.
It is not. It is only going to get worse. You need to have somebody that actually wants to do the hard work and say no to all of the special interest NGOs that are profiting off of this. Someone that will say no to the insane ideology of harm reduction and housing first. And right now, the vast majority of people that we have in elected office will not do that.
You know, it's one thing if you are someone who is ideologically extreme and you know what you're doing is not working, but that's what the team is doing, so that's what you're going to do. It's not even that. They pat themselves on the back and they think that they're the compassionate ones prolonging the agony.
They think they're doing incredible work, letting people suffer on the streets. Remember, when Karen Bass took over as mayor of L.A., 5 people were dying a day in L.A. County. Now it's 7.
And they're happy with it.
They're doing a great job.
It's the John Phillips Show.
No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes open to U.S. residents only, except New York and Florida. 18 and older. Rent 11/126. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit CarProSweeps.com. Sponsor Acuity Marketing, Inc. DBA CarPro.
Now is one of the best times to enter to win a 26 Corvette Stingray at CarPro.com. For a limited time, qualifying entry packages receive up to 30 times the entries. Win a brand new 2026 Corvette Stingray or $40,000 cash. This special launch promotion won't last long, so don't wait. Go to CarPro.com today and get entered. Now, let's talk more about CarPro.com. Listen to this 5-star review from listener Doree from Carson about her experience with CarPro.com and Kia of Carson. Quote, "This dealership should hold a master class on how to lease and sell vehicles. Everything went so smoothly. I was blown away. No haggling, no BSing. Everything was straightforward, honest, and easy. I had been to at least 6 dealerships prior that were all awful. I was so happy with Kia of Carson, I cannot recommend them enough," end quote. For the same VIP treatment and rockstar pricing, go to CarPro.com, put in your info and what you're looking for, or you can call or text Tom Haynes, the Big Cheese, directly on his cell phone at 818-435-6797. Stop doing it the hard way. Go to CarPro.com. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you can not only listen to the program on the radio, you could watch us live at johnnydon'tlike.com, and you can participate in the chat and click that like button.
If you click that like button, which is the thumbs up button, it tells YouTube that this show is popular. So they start pushing us out to other places. We also have tons of on-demand content right there at johnnydon'tlike.com. So even though we sign off at 3, there may be some segments from earlier in the week you have missed, or you want to check out the Accountability Podcast. It's all there. Make sure you watch a bunch of our stuff. Hit the like button and give us comments. Tell us what you think. We want to hear from you. So comment on our shows at johnnydon'tlike.com.
And tonight at midnight, the newest edition of the Accountability Podcast drops.
The Accountability Podcast.
Accountability.
Which we have made way easier to find because now it's at the same place, johnnydon'tlike.com. Just scroll down past the John Phillips Show and you'll see the Accountability Podcast. Our newest episode has us talking about the fact that Andrew Yang says Kamala Harris's people are sending out whispers that Kamala is going to run in 2028.
We are doing it.
So we get into her aspirations, her failed campaign in 2024, and how this will all, of course, impact Mr. Gavin Newsom.
And earlier today, I was a guest on Donald Trump Jr.'s podcast. It's called Triggered. And we talked about national politics, but we also talked about Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and he asked me a question about Barbara Ferrer, which is fantastic, that Barbara Ferrer has become such a buffoon that she is on the radar of the Trump family.
Does he refer to Gavin Newsom as his Eskimo brother?
He didn't do that. I think he might have called Babs a fake doctor, though.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. We all know who invented that term. So that is going to be up today on the Triggered podcast with Donald Trump Jr. And then I'm going to be on the California Underground podcast tonight at 8 o'clock at California Underground on YouTube and Instagram.
So the big story today is that Sheng, the indicted mayor of Oakland, who's facing federal charges, had an expose written about her in the pages of the San Jose Mercury News. To say that the piece was a bombshell is an understatement. Not only does Sheng look awful, so do a number of elected, appointed officials in the Bay Area. The Dong family also had their time in the barrel, and what wasn't mentioned in the piece but is looming over this entire story is what involvement did California Attorney General Rob Bonta have with the Dongs and California Waste Solutions. We'll have more details on that story with Seneca Scott in moments, right here on The John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you want to watch us do the show live, go to johnnydon'tlike.com and make sure to click that like button. It is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. He is the host of Gotham Oakland, which you can also find on YouTube, and definitely subscribe to that podcast. You can also follow him on X at Seneca Speaks 21. Seneca Scott, welcome.
Hey, good to be back, John. How you doing, man?
I'm good. What a busy day. Was not expecting today to be this busy, but here we are. Let's start out by talking about the obvious, which was the big bombshell report in the San Jose Mercury News about Sheng, Thao, and company. I say in company because it wasn't just about Sheng and her misdeeds. It's about a whole bunch of other people as well, and maybe some that weren't even mentioned specifically in that article. What was your takeaway after going through the details in that well-researched piece?
Well, it looks like they're making a Hail Mary attempt to squash evidence that is obviously so condemning that they'll probably take a plea deal once that is unsuccessful, if that is unsuccessful. And the judge says, no, we're going to let all the evidence in, which the prosecutors are very confident of. I think they're going to take a plea bargain, and they're going to find out what this really is about, which is, in my opinion, Attorney General Rob Bonta.
All right, let's start out with some of the specifics in the article, and I'll have you respond to it. Let's start out with this one. In 2019, while still a city council member, Thao shared sensitive internal city council information and strategy with Andy Dong amid a lawsuit in which Oakland accused California Waste Solutions of overcharging customers. The company later settled for about $6 million in refunds. Thao expressed concern about being seen publicly with the Dongs. It seems like she was working for that family and California Waste Solutions for a very long time.
I'll give you one more. There was a vote. The city attorney recommended a very low damage amount for this lawsuit. Let's say a couple $100,000. And then out of nowhere, Rebecca Kaplan said in closed session, I think we should pay him $4 million, $5 million. And instead of paying them a couple $100,000 or even making that offer, which the city attorney said was sufficient to settle that lawsuit, Rebecca Kaplan arbitrarily volunteered $5 million of Oakland taxpayer money, in which she got everyone voted for it, including Lauren Taylor, I'll add. But Sheng Thao voted for it, and Rebecca Kaplan voted for it. And so Rebecca Kaplan is also been working in the Duong's pocket for some time. And I said that she was that informant that they mentioned that her house was raided. And then we may ask that question later. Let's shelf that for now. But yes, it's not just Thao. Oakland is pay-for-play city. This is systemic and it is long. It's been going on for a long time. You could see the same stuff with Libby's Promise program and the public ethics charges that she caught around that whole shenanigans.
Here's another one. In 2021, Thao helped her partner, Andre Jones, secure a home lease by providing a false employment letter claiming that he earned $150,000 in salary at a cannabis consulting firm owned by her sister. Prosecutors say the job did not exist and that the couple had a pattern of creating fake jobs for mutual benefit. Was that something that they were known to do, lie about his employment?
I don't know. I don't have any inside knowledge on that, but just Sheng Thao and Andre, her boyfriend was in City Hall all the time in her office. What's her boyfriend doing around her? And why are these people's boyfriends always around them pulling scandals? Pamela Price, Carol Fife, Sheng Thao, they always got some shadowy male figure doing something corrupt in the background. Sheng didn't like what you said, by the way. She heard it. She heard you. I don't know if you saw her. I like those accusations. That's the first I heard of that. I was surprised to hear it, but that's the first I've heard of that.
All right, here's another one. Andy Dong regularly took secret photos and videos of politicians in compromising situations for potential leverage. Dozens of photos and videos were found on his phone. He also surreptitiously recorded phone calls. Was he operating a Jeffrey Epstein-like operation?
It appears so. And remember that Attorney General Rob Bonta spent close to $500,000 of his campaign funds after I was not alleged anymore, it's well known, after the informant Mario Juarez contacted him and told him that there was compromising material. Now we're learning that these things actually do exist. So yeah, I'm not surprised, and I hope to see them one day. I think they should be made public.
Oh, God. Well, it was never specifically alleged that they had it on him, but given what Mario Juarez said and what they said that they found on the phone and what he was doing to elected officials in order to blackmail them into doing what he wants, I don't know. I mean, I think we can all connect those
Good
dots.
old-fashioned compromise. But this is how the Democratic Party works. You've got it on Swalwell, and look, they always like a little bit of compromise and corruption on elected officials because it allows them to have leverage over them and participate in the systemic waste, fraud, and abuse that we're seeing, not just locally, statewide, but also in the federal government. So, it's just a very corrupt city. And now we're learning more and more about why I always say, John, Oakland, California is the most corrupt city in America. People keep telling me their city's more corrupt. I want to hear some stories like the ones that we're hearing right now about our mayor.
Here's another one. In March of 2023, Thao and Jones asked the Dongs to buy a $5,000 table at a political fundraiser. Bank and phone records show the payment was made.
Well, behested payments are a big issue in politics right now. They are legal. As you mentioned, to bring back up Attorney General Rob Bonta again. Remember, there's a whole behested payment scandal around him asking people for donations for things, and then those people being rewarded with, favors or favorable contracts that have no request for proposals, no bid contracts, etc. $5 million extras in lawsuits just because Oakland felt generous, that kind of stuff.
Here's another one. Tension arose in late 2023 after rumors spread about San Leandro Councilman Brian Acevedo's alleged drug use and activity with prostitutes during a Vietnam delegation trip that included the group. Thao became angry and threatened to end the relationship. Prosecutors allege that the Dongs paid $10,000 to an associate of a reporter to suppress a story about the trip. Acevedo was present during the alleged payment and was told the story would not run. Acevedo has already pleaded guilty in a separate related case and is expected to testify against the defendants.
I don't know if he was being honest. I believe the story did run. He's referring to East Bay insider and Sean Wilson, who was let go by Steve Tavares, who had been very transparent that he had no parts of it, and it was the reason for their separation and why he kicked him off of his show. And then Sean told some whole vague lie about, I'll just be lobbying for them and try to help spin the narrative. So, they tried to pay to have a story squashed, but I think the person who broke the story of Brian Acevedo was East Bay Insider.
So the payment went to one reporter, but the publication stood by what they found.
Yeah, absolutely, unequivocally.
Okay. Let's go back to that trip to Vietnam for a second, because this was a trip that generated a lot of interest, and it seems like they were aware that people were onto the fact that things happened on that trip that probably shouldn't have happened. When Acevedo was approached by investigative reporter Dan Noyes about what happened on that trip, he acted really weird. The question was vague, and the answer was, I didn't receive a dirty massage when I was in Vietnam. I don't know anything about dirty massages that happened in Vietnam.
It was the funniest thing. He's like, so I heard the Vietnam trip was a little crazy. It's like, I didn't get no joke. I didn't get a happy ending. Not me. No, sir. No, sir. Now, I mean, no happy endings here, and I definitely didn't get a happy ending by a teenage girl or underage girl. That was not me, and I absolutely did not get caught with cocaine at the border and had to have the Duong family pull some strings. That wasn't me either. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was a wild one. I guess that's why attorneys tell defendants to never speak to the media.
I don't know what he was doing, but it was not smart. But he pled guilty, and he turned snitch, because that's what the guilty always do when they realize that they're facing significant jail time. They are snitching each other. So, like I said, we'll see what happens with the Duongs and Sheng Thao.
Was that the calling card for them? When they say prostitution, were they actually having call girls go over there, or were they just taking them to these massage parlors for gentlemen's massages?
I don't really know. It could be both. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. Let's just say they had a good time. They were known to party hard and take pictures and videos of it all.
Oh my
God! Like a Diddy party, but a Duong party.
There were a lot of them on that trip too. It wasn't just like there.
Danny Glover was on the trip.
Who was on?
Danny Glover,
the actor.
Yeah.
The hell was he doing there? He's supposed to be in the outfield with the other Angels.
But there were people on that trip who worked for the city of Oakland who are decent people. So every single person on the trip wasn't up to no good. But it was an expensive trip that was planned, sort of a victory lap celebration about all the great things and all the money they were going to make together, pimping out the city of Oakland.
Why do you think Sheng was offended about the gentleman's massages?
Because I heard her husband was along for the ride, or boyfriend.
Oh. And he enjoyed some of the nectar of nature's forbidden fruit too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She caught wind of that and didn't like it.
I mean, if he was involved, then she caught wind of it, and she definitely didn't like it. That would explain that. I mean, why would she care what Curly was doing? Why would she care what Azevedo was doing? Right? Doesn't make any sense.
No, and she said, I guess at one point, she didn't even want to be photographed with anyone from that group.
She knew that it was bad and things were getting leaked and people were talking. So I'll leave it at that. There's been a lot to said, and we've been waiting to see the full extent of what happened during that Vietnam trip. So, see, that looks great. Orange is the new black, baby. But yeah, I don't think they're going to go to trial. Look, if by some miracle they get all the stuff that they're trying to get squashed that came out yesterday, like the story the reason it got into the news is because the defendant is trying to get all of that information tossed out of court. And so if they are successful with that, then you'll probably see a trial. And if they're not successful with that, then you'll probably see a plea. That's my prediction.
How is it that Rob Bonta has been able to keep his name out of all of these stories when you see what's on the horizon, I see what's on the horizon, everyone listening to us right now could see what's on the horizon, and it's just the bombshell part of the story or another bombshell part of the story that goes unnamed?
Okay, all right. You asked me the one I've been waiting for. So I'm going to keep... Now, these are all my proprietary thoughts. And I have nothing to base this on except my algorithm getting the information. But my algorithm is a good algorithm, and I've been able to predict a lot of things that happen. Here's what I think's going on. There's an election going on right now. And if Rob Bonta gets Swalwell, because remember, Swalwell was still on the ballot. People could have voted for him. He got how many? 2%, 3%? He went from front runner to basically like getting less votes than Katie Porter. If institutional legacy media was to start to honestly cover the true implication and what's going on here with Attorney General Rob Bonta, he would probably lose that election. And here's why that's important. The Attorney General of California is the most powerful Attorney General in the United States of America. I'll say that again. The Attorney General of the state of California is the most powerful, by far and away, the most powerful Attorney General in the United States of America. And here's why. The Attorney General controls the District Attorney's Office and the Sheriff's Department. Sheriffs are elected. District Attorneys are elected. But the Attorney General controls them and can pull rank on anything they do. And if they violate it, then there's criminal prosecutions, whatever, that come with forfeiture of office. So he's pretty much their boss, which means that the Attorney General of California has far more power over public safety policies than the governor themselves. The Attorney General of California can also file for correspondent audit and forensic audit of all nonprofits registered here. So when you think about the fact that the Chinese Progressive Association, California Endowment, San Francisco Foundation, Open Societies, I don't know if Open Societies is based here, but a lot of nonprofits are based here that serve as fiscal sponsors or handle the donor advised fund that fund the ecosystem of the entire progressive movement in the country. And so if Attorney General Michael Gates gets elected and he decides he wants to go ahead and start asking labor unions, is this money really coming from your members? Or why are nonprofits giving money to each other just to give it back to each other? It looks like some sort of money laundering. Let's peek under the hood. They are so screwed. I'm not going to drop an F-bomb. They are screwed, brother. And that could take down the whole party. And so I believe legacy media is not covering this because they all have a handshake agreement that they don't do these things to each other unless the green light has been given from the commission, right? And the commission, you ask for permission to hit them, in the words of Biggie Smalls. You got to ask the shadowy bosses, can you take out Bonta? And so far, it doesn't look like they've given the okay. That's all I got to say about that, man.
So you think the story is going to break after the election, so then Becerra gets to appoint the next attorney general, and that person makes it so that all of these NGOs that are laundering money, they're intact and they don't go to prison.
That's a bingo.
All right. Well, excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. I'm sure there'll be a lot more on the next Gotham Oakland podcast. You can get that podcast on YouTube. Go check it out. Go click that subscribe button and watch those podcasts, because more information about Sheng Thao and the corruption in Oakland will be broken on that podcast. Seneca, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll chat again real soon.
Thanks, Sean. Have a good one. Peace, y'all.
Right. Seneca Scott, everyone. You can follow him on X at Seneca Speaks 21. It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you want to watch us do the show live, you can do that at johnnydon'tlike.com.
We're here every single day from noon to 3, even though we're about to sign off. There is tons of on-demand content. Today's show, you can watch it from the beginning. I also will put up segments from the show, including our interviews with Jennifer Van Laar and Seneca Scott, in case you missed those. There is all kinds of stuff, so watch our on-demand content, hit the like button, and give us your comments. Tell us what you think about all these issues. Write comments on all of our shows, because the algorithm loves it.
And coming up tonight at midnight, the newest edition of the Accountability Podcast drops.
Episode 5 of the Accountability Podcast, as we cover Kamala Harris sending out a whisper campaign that she's going to run again for president.
And coming up tonight, I'm going to be a guest on the Triggered Podcast with Donald Trump Jr. You can download that podcast wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'll tweet it out at Johnny Don't Like. And also later today, Randy, you're going to have Steve Hilton as a guest on your 5 p.m. program.
The News Blitz with Randy Wang, it airs on KABC. I also put up the video at johnnydon'tlike.com. Steve Hilton is coming on the show on the phone, but he wants to talk to me about his new campaign, so that's very exciting. And when that's still not enough work, tonight at 8, I'm going to be a guest on the California Underground podcast with our buddy Phil Moriello. So there's a lot of us on the internet. I hope you have a lot of free time.
I wonder if Steve Hilton will have anything to say about Sheng Thao.
Oh, boy, I bet he will.
All right, that's going to do it for us today, but we'll be back tomorrow at noon for another edition of The John Phillips Show.